So I wanted to get on here real quick and talk to you about Resurrection Sunday and why we celebrate this this day. Because if we're not careful, saints, brothers and sisters, we can put on our Sunday's best. We can go to church and sing, worship, hear a sermon, pray, and then go home, and on Monday go back to the same life that is keeping us from being everything that we are called to be. Christ came down from glory as a human being in order to live our life, in order to walk in our shoes, to experience every conflict, every temptation, every plan that the enemy throws at us on a day-to-day basis. And the enemy thought that every negative word, every negative plan, every bad relationship, everything that he could do to keep Christ from walking in his purpose, he thought he accomplished at the cross. And he thought he defeated him when he hung up at the crucifixion. But little did the enemy know that not only would Christ rise again on the third day, but he would rise in all power, in all authority. And brothers and sisters, he did that not so that we could continue in the bondage, the slavery, the stress, the bad relationships, the deadbeat jobs, the purposeless and meaningless life. No, he was a forerunner to show us the capability and the power of what God can do in our lives if we are willing to humble ourselves and submit to his will for our lives. Y'all, we can look at Christ as us. The enemy comes to steal your inheritance, to steal your peace, to steal your joy, to steal your inheritance, to steal your blessings, in the hopes of destroying you in the process and killing the very call, the very purpose that God has for your life. But Christ came down as an archetype, so to speak, to show us that you don't have to stay in that dead-end job. You don't have to be in that dead-end relationship. You don't have to continue to go on in your life without purpose, without direction, without power, and without every blessing that God has called you to in your life. You too can rise with all power and authority that Christ did before us so that you could experience in your own life. Y'all, we can go to church. We can send memes and text messages and post on our social media accounts, Happy Resurrection Day. But until we make the proactive choice to leave those things that are behind us and to press towards the mark of the high calling, we can't even say Happy Resurrection Day. All it is a word. All it is a cliche. Christ did more for us in those moments than we could ever hope or imagine for. And I reached a point in my life where I got tired of calling myself a believer, tired of calling myself a Christian, and continuing to live in a powerless life. a life that's under the control of men, a life that's under control of your parents, a life that's under the control of the authorities, a life that's under control of your job, control of your government. And I said, no, God, this is not what you created me for. If we go all the way back to the beginning, it says that God blessed the man and the woman, and he said two things: be fruitful, multiply, three things, and have dominion over the earth. Be fruitful, multiply, and have dominion over the earth. You need to ask yourself, am I walking in that design for my life? Am I walking in that dominion for my life? And if I'm not, but I'm getting up here on Resurrection Sunday, the day that we recognize and acknowledge the finished work of Christ over the hand of the enemy over each and every one of our lives, and I go back to the same broken relationship, the same dead-end job, the same meaningless life and powerless existence, then all I'm speaking are cliches. Brothers and sisters, y'all, let's not make a mockery of today. The world is lost, and the world is looking for God's children to walk in who he created all of mankind to walk in. They are looking to us. They are saying, let me see how great your God is. Let me see how powerful your God is. Let me see how capable your God is. And if all you doing is posting memes, posting pictures of the things God can do, but you won't allow him to do in your life, then you are making a mockery, not only of God, but of the finished work of Christ. Let today be the day that we decide that enough is enough. And I am going to make Blessed Resurrection Day mean it. And I'm going to throw off every shackle, every bondage, every stronghold, every imagination that sets itself up against the knowledge of Christ and who he created you to be in your life. And I am going to walk in God's purpose, power, and provision for my life so that I can lay hold of every blessing that God desires for me. Don't let another Resurrection Sunday go by without you making the conscious decision to turn your life around and give it to God so he could do all that you've ever hoped for or imagined. Y'all, I've made that decision. I want everything the devil has stole. I want it back with interest. What do you want? What do you want? I want to say Blessed Resurrection because I thank God that he did the work, something I could never do in my own life because I did not have the power or the authority at the time. But he did the work so that I could lay hold of that very thing that Christ laid hold of when he rose with all power and might and defeated the enemy on our behalf. Be blessed on today. I love you. Walk in purpose, walk in power, and walk in God's provision for your life.